Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and whether or not buyers are in trouble because we have seen the market lose that $42,000 handle. So we'll talk about what buyers have to do to keep this market afloat and also what they have to do to push prices higher, as well as what could put Bitcoin in hot water next week. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of that today. But before we get started, guys, if you do enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to get notifications because I am releasing these videos every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, so with that said, the Bitcoin daily time frame, guys, did lose the $42,000 handle. So we have talked about this area now for the last few weeks. If you look at the weekly time frame, this shows it best really. Over the past 13 or 14 months, we have seen Bitcoin really just kind of pivot back and forth between this area. So you can see back here in January of 2021, this area served as resistance right before the breakout. Bitcoin broke back below it. This area became resistance. Okay, so once again here, support again through here, and support once more. So we saw Bitcoin drop below this area recently, and it then closed back above it a couple weeks ago. So the question now is Bitcoin still above this area or not? And I've seen a lot of people saying, okay, we've lost 42,000, so therefore Bitcoin is bearish. I've seen a lot of people even trying to short the market. Personally, guys, I think that it is way premature to start shorting the market and thinking that we are bearish, simply because there are several support levels that are below the current price. So the very first one is going to be that area right around 39,500, which we saw tested today. So you can see this even from the daily time frame. All right, so over the past few months, notice this low back here and also this one. Okay, so this area right here around 39,600 is going to be support. So yes, Bitcoin did break below 42,000 yesterday. However, trying to short this market right now, in my opinion, is ill-advised, simply because it is still above that $39,600 level. Okay, so what happens if Bitcoin drops below that? Is it bearish then? In my opinion, it still is not bearish because it's still going to be above this area. Furthermore, guys, notice this low down here at 33. The market never closed below 35,000. So even if we saw Bitcoin drop down here toward 37 to 38,000, the market would still technically be making a higher low if it bounced from there. So this is not, in my opinion, a scenario where you want to be trying to short the market. If you were going to be trying to short this, in my opinion, you would want to do so up here at resistance or even this lower high. Okay, but right now, guys, personally, I would not be trying to short this. In fact, I bought more Bitcoin today, right around 39,900. So you guys will remember that I was buying this pullback right here all the way from 42 down toward 35. My average was right around 38. Okay, now on the way up here, I did take some off here, and I also took some off through here once the whole Russia-Ukraine tensions really started to build. So I did have about 50% of that position still on when I added today. So I actually averaged up today at 39,900. Now, the way I'm playing this position, this is spot only, guys, no leverage involved here, is if Bitcoin were to close below 39,000, okay, this area down here, these highs, if it were to close down here, then I would probably go ahead and get out of that position, or at least shave about 50% of that position off for a very small loss. However, I would not, again, be getting bearish simply because the market would still be above this area down here around 37 and also the area around 35. So, look, I know a lot of people right now on Twitter are talking about Bitcoin going back to $30,000 or even $20,000. But personally, the market is still above several support levels, and it's way premature to be calling for those kind of levels. That's just my opinion. But one of them is 39,600, followed by 37, followed by 35. Okay, these are all going to be support levels on the way down. And again, even if Bitcoin drops below here, it's still technically going to be making a higher low if it bounces from any one of these positions. All right, so you have to be careful trying to short this because we know how quickly this market can change. We've even seen that just over the past few days when the market was up here and rallying toward 46,000, everybody was bullish, or at least the majority of people were, thinking that 50,000 is next. Some people were even calling for all-time highs in the next few weeks once the market was up here. But look, this market can change incredibly fast. You give it a few days, everybody's bearish now. If the market were to pop back up here everybody would once again be bullish. Okay, so one candle, two candles don't make a market. It takes a lot more than that, and right now it is still far too early to be calling for $30,000 or $20,000 Bitcoin. Now, while I have you guys here, let's go ahead and take a look at the DXY2, the US dollar index, because this is something that I've discussed now for a while. And this is going to be a key driver for risk assets like cryptos. So Bitcoin, this matters. And what we've been looking at is the potential for this bearish engulfing week back here. Okay, so this big red candle was technically a bearish engulfing week. It completely engulfed the previous one. And this looks very similar to the bearish engulfing week we got back here in March of 2020. Now, I am not insinuating that we are about to see the US dollar index fall like it did back here and for Bitcoin to rally like it did during the bull market. Okay, it could happen, but that's not necessarily what I'm calling for. But then again, the DXY doesn't have to do that in order for us to see new all-time highs for cryptos. And I know that sounds crazy right now because everybody is so bearish, but honestly, that's why I like the idea that we are going to get one more push higher this year because nobody expects it right now. But as for the DXY, guys, what I'm looking for right now is a move below 95.13. So I've said this for a while. If you notice back here in March of 2020, what happened is the DXY put in this bearish engulfing week, and it never did confirm that pattern until all the way over here. Okay, so the market just went sideways, but it never took out the high up here. Eventually it confirmed that bearish engulfing week, and we all know what happened after that. Okay, this was pretty much the entire bull market for cryptos. Okay, so what I'm looking for is something similar here, and just keep in mind that we could see several weeks of consolidation just like we got back here. And that also makes sense because we're not really going to get any CPI numbers until March. The same thing with the Fed. Okay, we're not going to find out any more information on inflation or where the Fed stands as far as rate hikes and tapering until next month. So we could still see a few more weeks here of sideways price action from the DXY. So I'm not expecting anything imminent. Okay, but with that said, guys, one thing I am watching in addition to the weekly bearish engulfing candle, all right, is the fact that the RSI over the past few weeks has started to give us some bearish divergence. So notice how the price action up here made a higher high. Okay, so this high right here was clearly higher than this one. And at the same time, the RSI on the daily put in a lower high. So this right here is bearish divergence. Okay, now you can even see this on the weekly time frame. So this even appeared on the weekly chart as well, where you can see the market once again made a higher high. Okay, the price did, and then the RSI made a lower high. So the daily and weekly chart are both showing some early signs of bearish divergence from the RSI. So we are seeing a bit of exhaustion here from the RSI. Now it's up to the price to confirm that. Like I've said in the past, guys, indicators are fine. They're fine to use. They can help you. However, the price action is what matters. Okay, what the price is doing is always going to trump whatever an indicator is doing. So, for that, like I said, we need to move below 95.13 to confirm that weekly bearish engulfing candle. And ideally, I would like to see it take out 94.60 because that would give us that first lower low within this sequence. Okay, because we've only seen higher highs and higher lows from the DXY ever since it bottomed back in May of last year. All right, so break below these lows right here. And I do think we get that trend reversal. And then that is going to allow risk assets like Bitcoin to start to move higher again later this year. Now, the flip side to that, of course, is if we do see something break out between Russia and Ukraine, or the Fed decides to raise rates more than expected, and the DXY does take out this area up around 97.50, then that would negate everything I just mentioned. Okay, so if we saw it move above this high up here, that would negate that bearish engulfing week, and we're likely to see a much higher DXY. That's going to put more pressure on risk assets. But again, as I've been saying, guys, I do expect to see one more significant leg higher later this year for cryptos, for stocks, and I do expect to see the DXY rotate lower. All of the signs are there. We just need the chart to confirm it. All right, guys, so that is it for today. Just remember, Bitcoin right now is technically at support, okay? So, if you look back here, even on the daily chart, you can see how significant this area between 40 and 42 has been. There's been a lot of price action that's occurred through this area over the last year plus. So if we were to see it break below this, and then also break below this 37 area, plus this area down here, get below 35, then potentially we're looking at a move down here toward 30,000. But personally, I think that any calls for 30,000 or 20,000 Bitcoin are very premature. Could it happen? Yes, I could very well be wrong, guys. But at the same time, support is support until it isn't, right? So until we see Bitcoin close below those levels, they are intact as support. As for resistance, it needs to get above 42,000 now, and also that $46,000 region. Remember that 46,200 is the yearly open for Bitcoin. It's going to take a close above that level for the Bitcoin chart to really turn bullish toward the $50,000 region. All right, guys, so I hope that this helped. If it did, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for notifications. Smash that like button and leave your comment below. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will talk to you again on Monday.